Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the best friends of verbs. Any guesses? We are going to talk about modals. Modals are the words which tell us the mode of action or the manner in which an action is happening. So when we talk about action, we refer to verbs, right? Look at this structure. This is a general structure of any sentence where you have a subject, you have a verb, and you have an object. But suppose you want to emphasize this verb, you want to tell the manner of this verb or the mode of this verb. Then what will you do? Then the best friend of verbs comes into play, and which is modals. But you might feel, isn't this enough? It has everything that it has to give. Sometimes it is not enough. Sometimes if you have to express the ability, the possibility, obligation, permission, promise, etc., all these things attached to this action word, then definitely you require a modal. The modal does all the work for you. And where will you insert this modal? Modal will always come before a verb. That is here. Here comes your modal, which is like the best friend of a verb. Now I'm going to divide my lecture of modals in two parts, wherein I'll be covering 14 kinds of modals for you. In the first part, I'm going to cover will, would, shall, should, may, and might. So let's start with the first part of modals. But before we start with the types of modals, let me tell you how and why the modal will be used. Let's go to the usage of modals first. The first rule of modals is modal will never exist without its best friend. What's the best friend? Verb. Exactly. Look at these sentences. John can is a modal. Yeah? John can fast. Doesn't this sound incomplete? What is missing here? Of course, can what? It rings a bell in your head, right? So what is missing here? An action word is missing here. So if I do not write a verb after the modal, it sounds incomplete. So the first rule is modal will never exist without a verb. Let's put a verb here. Now, can you see after I put the verbs here, what has it become? Now the friendship between the verb and the modal has become strong. Both the friends are now together. The next thing that you have to remember is modals will not change according to the subject, unlike verbs. Like you have subject and verb agreement. If you have a singular subject, you will have a singular verb with an S, right? Now look at these sentences. John runs fast, or Mary comes early to office. Now in both the sentences, my subject is singular. So for singular subject, I will make a change in the verb and add an S to it, or I will change the verb according to the singular or plural subject, right? But this will never happen with modals. Modals will never change as per the singularity or plurality of the subject. Whatever may be the subject, modals will never be with S. For example, John, if I want to put the modal can here, I will put can, but not cans. This will be wrong. If I want to put may here, then I can put may, but I will never put mays. Okay? Now, when you have a model with this, You do not have to do anything to the verb. This is where comes our third rule. The third rule says that if you have a model in a sentence, the verb will always be in its base form. Now, what has gone wrong in this sentence? As long as I did not have a model here, the sentence looked fine. But the moment I put a model, I have to change this verb into its base form, that is without S. Okay, so now the sentence will be John can run, not runs. Next, Mary may come, not comes. Always remember that if you want to make a model in its negative form, we will always use the word not. Like model plus not and then the verb. Let's try to make these sentences in negative form. John can not run fast, or I may even write the contracted form of not, and it can be John can't run fast. Next one, Mary may not come early to office. Okay, so to make it negative, we will always use the word not, but you will never use the words like don't, doesn't, isn't, aren't, wasn't, weren't, etc. Such words will not be used. Only the word not will be used. Now, there's a very interesting thing about cannot. When you put not with can, it comes as one word. There is no space between can or not. It is the only model where there is no space between not and the model word. In other models, you will always have a space. That's the speciality of cannot. But with negative models, there is one exception, and that is have to. Have to is a model. But if you are using have to in a sentence negatively, then every time have to will always be preceded by any one of this. Only have to will have a negative word like don't, doesn't, or didn't. It will never be have to not. Look at the examples. You don't have to do this. See here, you don't have to. She didn't have to go home. Now I hope here you are a little bit clear about how and when to use a model. Now let's start with the list of our models: will, would, shall, should, may, and might. Let's start with our first model of the session, will. Will is used with simple future, with second or third person. When I refer to second or third person, the subjects that we generally use is either someone's name, or we use these pronouns like you, he, she, it, they. You will succeed in life. Now this is a simple future tense, and if you look here, the subject is you. So with you, with second or third person, we will use the model will. Similarly, the principal is a third person, correct? So with this, we can use the model will. The principal will announce the result soon. Whenever will is used with the first person, that is I or we talk about different things here. We may talk about a promise, an obligation, a determination, a willingness, or intention. Look here at these sentences. I will meet you tomorrow. Now it's a promise. So whenever a first person is making a promise, he will always use the word will. Next is a willingness or intention. So if you have any willingness to do a job, you would use the model will. Like, I will put in my best efforts to complete this task. We will never let any harm reach you. This is determination. So will is basically used if you are making a promise or a determination or any willingness of the activity and you're 100% sure that you are going to do this. Then we use will with the first person. Now in negative terms, will becomes will not or won't. Let's see how to use them. I won't come to the party. Now instead of won't, I can also use will not like this. But if you're asking a question where will becomes the question word, then not will be used after the subject. Will you not go to the party? That's how you construct sentences with negative will or will not or won't. Now the modal would is generally taken as the past tense of will. So whatever actions we are referring in the past will use the modal would. Now the first rule here is would is used for past habits. Look at these sentences. He would regularly take brief breaks. Now taking brief breaks was his past habit. So if anything that we talk in past will be would. Next, my father would always ask me to brush teeth before going to bed. So that's again talking about past habits. Now if you want to express polite request or invitation or offer, then you use would. Then would is a better option than will to bring more politeness. Look at these sentences. Would you carry this bag for me? Would you have dinner with me on Sunday? Now I have an option of using will here, but then would sounds more polite. Now would can also be used to express a strong wish or a preference. Like in the first sentence, I would rather sleep early than watch this movie. I am preferring sleep to watching the movie. So I will use the modal would here for a preference. But if I am making a wish, like I wish I would get a chance to visit the sea coast. It's my wish. But there is another way of making a wish with the help of would. Look at this sentence. If only it were so simple. It's a wish. But I can change this sentence and add would in such a way that it becomes completely different. Like here, would that it were so simple. Would that I had an answer. Okay, so in these ways we can make a wish and use would there. Now would can also be used for imaginary conditions. If you're imagining something which does not really exist, but it is realistic, right? Okay, she would look better with shorter hair. You are imagining the girl with shorter hair and you feel she would look better. Okay, next, this color would suit the background. You are imagining. So for imagination also you can use this modal would. Now considering the negative form of would, we will have wouldn't or would not. Take the same examples again. She wouldn't look better with shorter hair, or she would not. Either is correct here. Either you use would not or you use wouldn't. When we talked about will, I had told you that will as in simple future is generally used with second or third person, right? You remember? But shall is just the opposite of it. Shall as in simple future will be used with the first person. Like here, we shall, I shall. Now we or I are the first persons here. So with I or we generally use shall. Just read the sentence. We shall go to the market tomorrow, or I shall stay with you when you are alone. Now when we are talking about offers, suggestions or advice in the interrogative form with the first person, like with I or we, then also we use shall. What shall we do this weekend? Now if you can see, we have a first person here, we. So I'm going to use here shall. Next, shall we go for a walk? It's a suggestion, but again I'm using a first person here. Have a look at the third one. Shall I drive the car? It's an offer along with the first person. So all these in the interrogative form with first person will always have the modal shall. Now to express command, threat, determination, promise, obligation, etc. for a second or third person, then we use shall. Exactly the opposite of will. Look at these sentences. You shall do as you are told. It's a command. But the person used here is a second person. He shall be in deep trouble if he fails. It's a threat. But the person used here is a third person. Right? Now look at the third one. I shall take care of everything for you. It's a promise. Now you would say that we are using a first person here. But it's a promise, and with the first person like I or we, for simple future we use shall, that we just saw. So this also is perfectly fine. Look at the next one. They shall protect their honor. It's a determination along with the third person. So we are going to use shall here. But always remember, whenever you are in doubt whether to use will or shall, mostly choose will. But if it's in the first person like I or we, then you should generally choose shall. When we are talking about the negative form of shall, it will either be shall not or shan't. Look here, I have made the same sentences in negative. You shall not. I may use shall not, or I can also use he shan't, I shan't, they shan't, and so on. Let's move to the next model now, should. Now you might feel that should is the same as what we read about would, like it can be the past form of shall. But no, it is not like that. Should is generally used with advice or obligation or duties and so on. Look at these three sentences. I should be at work now. Now here I am expressing my duty. So I will use the model should. You should be wearing a seat belt. It's an obligation. It's a rule that I have to follow. So here I'll use the model should. You should exercise regularly. Now when you are advising somebody, then also we use the model should here. Now should is also used to express possibility or probability or some future inference based on some certain conditions. Then also we find that model here. Like here, they should be at the airport now. Now it's a possibility. We are assuming that it must be happening or it must have happened. So we will use the model should here. If mother should see me out at such an hour, she will be angry. Now it's a probable condition. With the help of if, I am giving a condition that if this happens, that will be the result. But if you look at this sentence carefully, I have got two models here. If mother should, now this is a condition, but in the result, she will be angry. Now will is again a model here, but it is referring to simple future action. Now to refer to a purpose, especially with the word lest, we use the word should. Lest refers to some kind of fear. So out of fear, if you don't want that action to happen, then you can use should with lest. That is always a combination that is preferred. Like you work hard lest you should fail. So there is a fear here. If you do not work hard, you will fail. Now as always, the negative form of should will be shouldn't. Look here, you shouldn't be staying up late. Now shouldn't can also be used as should not. Look at the next one. My father shouldn't have reached office by now. It's a possibility or an assumption that I'm making. So shouldn't or should not, both can be considered as the negative forms of should. Okay, may. That's our next model, and I find this very easy to understand. May is used to express possibility or ask for permission, or when you are wishing good things for somebody, then also you use may, or may can also be used to express a purpose of some action. Let's look at these sentences one by one and you'll understand better. It may be true. Now I'm talking about a possibility. I'm not sure. It may. I'm just assuming. But when I talk about may as in possibility, I am quite positive about that possibility. Unlike the model might, which we are going to see next, might is a possibility in the negative terms, whereas may is a possibility in positive terms. May is also one of the ways of asking permission in a very polite way. Like, may I borrow your pen? May will sound very polite. Instead, if I ask for somebody's permission like, can I borrow your pen? Then it doesn't sound that polite. But I may also use could here to make it more polite than this. Could I borrow your pen? Now could is again another model which we are going to see in the next session. Look at the next one. If I want to wish or hope or have faith in something, may God bless you. May you have all the happiness in the world. May prosperity touch your feet. So if I'm wishing good things for somebody, we use the model may. May can also be used to talk about some purpose for an action. He is practicing hard so that he may win the race. So why is he practicing? He's practicing for a particular purpose. So to state that purpose, I can write the model may. Now let's talk about the negative of may. The negative form of may will be may not or mayn't. Look here, it may not be true. I mayn't attend the meeting, or he is practicing so that he may not fail. Now just now we talked about may as in greater possibility. Might, it gives a less possibility, least possibility to talk about. Now let's see, it might be a rainy night. Whenever I use the word might, I am talking about less possibility. At the same place, if I use the model may, it may be a stormy night, then I am talking about a stronger possibility. So may is used for stronger possibility, whereas might is used for lesser possibility. Now like may, I can use might to ask permission or to guess something. Like here, might I request a new plan? Now if you use might here instead of may, it is as polite as may. Same, come here on the next sentence. That might be Aunt Agnes. Now what am I doing here? I'm trying to guess. Okay, now here it's not a possibility, it's my guess. So if I'm trying to guess something, then also I can use the model might. Now let's look at the negative form of might. Might in negative terms is pronounced as might not or mightn't. It might not be a stormy night. It's a negative form of might. But if I'm using it in a question, I will not say, might not I suggest? No, that will be wrong. Instead, I will say, might I not suggest a new plan? Or I can also use it like this, may I not suggest a new plan? Yeah. Okay, come to the third one. That mightn't be Aunt Agnes. Now, instead of might not, you can also use the contracted form and pronounce it as mightn't. Alright everyone, here we finish this session's models, but as usual, before you leave, I'm going to pose a few questions to you and you have to help me solve it today. Let's start with filling in the models. I dash pass my driving test. Now for your convenience or for your understanding, I have given the expression in the bracket so that you understand how that sentence has been framed to express which feeling has it been framed. Okay, let's see here. I dash pass my driving test. It's a determination. Now, if you have a determination with the first person like I or we, then we use the model will. I will pass my test. That's my determination. Okay. Next, you dash stay at home if you are feeling tired. It's a suggestion or an advice given to somebody else. Okay. So when we are giving an advice, which model should we use? Should. So I can use should here for suggestion. Next, dash we meet tomorrow morning. Okay, now this is a suggestion and interrogation. And if you remember, if you have a combination of both, but the person here is the first person, then we are going to use here shall. So the model that I'm going to use here is this. Come to the next one. Dash he win the race. It's a wish or a hope. So what do we use when you are wishing good things for others or hoping for good things? May, correct. So I will use the model may here. Next and the last one. Dash you please pick me up. It's a polite request. Okay, so when you're requesting and in its politest form, then we use the model would. Would you please pick me up? So I'm going to write the model would here. Well, that's it. It's time to wrap up this session. In my next session, I will come up with more models. Okay. Till then, stay safe and have a good time ahead. Thank you very much for watching.